S&P, I mean, this was super fucking clean. We had our 12-hour range. We had an SFP occur at the 12-hour. So you could have longed literally the SFP candle close with your target at the SFP low. Where's your first target? I would say probably the mid-range of this range. So let's just see what that is. 39.80. That's just longing the 12-hour SFP, nothing else. No low time frame bullshit, nothing. Just longing the 12-hour SFP, target the mid-range. You got yourself a 4R trade. But what I did, right, is once we ran this low and these lows, is I did the same thing on Bitcoin. I zoomed in, said, okay, we're at the range low of this price swing. We just ran a bunch of key lows. Let me see if I can find a breaker. Sure enough, on the hourly chart, up candle before the down move that took out all these lows. There's your reclaim. Your stop is down here. Boom. Very nice move. Very nice trade with almost no drawdown, really, right? Like you enter here, you're underwater a couple points for like an hour, and then it's up only. I'm pretty happy with that kind of setup. Now, if you would have put your stop directly at the breaker, you would have been stopped out. So that happens, you're done, right? You can get back in if you see this, right? If you get stopped out here and then it rallies right through the breaker, why not re-enter and put your stop now at this new low, right? Take the 1R loss. If it ends up playing out for 3R, your net is still 2R, right? You can hop back in. Personally though, I had my stop below the 12-hour SFP, so I never got tagged. And then I took profit, right? Coming up into the mid-range here. Very similar setup to Ethereum and to Bitcoin. I want to see this potentially trade to this double top here. That taco is giving me indigestion, man. Lana's music making my fucking ears bleed. The taco making my insides bleed. That picture making my eyes bleed. So I'm looking for either a breakout above this current high and this level here. This would be the continuation play. Target 1, target 2 would be just over 4,000, 4,075, let's say. The pullback setup, similar to Bitcoin and Ethereum, where this down move occurred, I'd want to see us hold right around here. So pullback maybe to 39.40, 39.50, target 1, target 2. So those are the two setups I'm looking for. All setups are basically the same. We have a breakout play, so we're trading, we just make another leg up, we catch the breakout, or we have the pullback and then the continuation plays. Both setups on each of these three pairs are longs. 2 options for longs on Bitcoin, 2 options for longs on Ethereum, 2 options for longs on the S&P, and they're all based on the dollar also potentially having some downside for the rest of the week. Let's look at the dollar index, because everyone's been talking about the dollar. Not to toot my own horn, but let me toot my own fucking horn. I've been talking about the dollar for literally years and its correlation to Bitcoin. You know, there's periods where some people pay attention to it, but now that the whole macro picture looks shitty, everyone's like, oh, it's because the dollar's ripping. When I've talked about this correlation for so long, I had so many fucking idiots try and tell me that the correlation wasn't there, even though I'd like show them the chart, be like, look, every time the dollar rips, Bitcoin's in a bear market. And every time the dollar tops, Bitcoin's in a bull market. And they're like, oh no. And I'm like, fuck you, fractions. But regardless, I talked about this breakout being like, this is bad for risk assets. I do still think the dollar trades towards 120. That being said, you know, we've had this huge move to the upside with only a very little pullback here. So if you go to the weekly now, we just traded above this high here, and now we're getting this kind of bearish looking candle potentially forming on this weekly. I would love to see, we have this move up. I would love to see something like this happen. This becomes a bit of a deviation and we trade back into here, maybe below this low at the very least. And this would be confluent with me looking for one more leg up in equities and in crypto. Is the dollar cooling off a little bit because it's been going absolutely gangbusters? Okay, so this would be the type of setup that I would want to see play out on the dollar, and maybe we obviously could trade deeper into this is a weekly order block here. Trade deeper into this, I don't know, but at very least get back below that previous high here, cool off on the dollar. That's going to give us the juice to get that next leg up. But overall, I'm still bullish on the dollar. I think it goes higher. And yeah, there's no crypto bull run until this thing cools off, right? Until this thing tops. When did the last bull run start? This is COVID. COVID bottom on the dollar. Look at the dollar. What did crypto and equities do? This. Look at this here. This is the top in 2018 of that, or 2017, excuse me, of that bull run. What happened? Bear market. Top of the Bitcoin bull run, bear market. Bottom of the Bitcoin bull run, bull market. So if we're doing this right fucking now, no surprise that the fucking equities and crypto markets look like shit. So we need this to top out somewhere and have a large correction before we can even hope to have bullishness in risk assets. But what also gives me some hope is you look at pairs that are generally correlated with things like crypto, right? This being correlated a little bit because it's trading against the dollar, right? So if Euro USD looks bullish, it doesn't mean Bitcoin is bullish. But if this is going up, maybe that's a sign of weakness in the dollar, which is inherently bullish for Bitcoin. But this looks like it could potentially be bottoming briefly. Not for good, but we had a huge down move. We lost parity into this monthly order block here, running some key high time frame monthly lows. These have all been fucking smoked now, and we're below $1. So maybe we get some sort of relief here on the Euro coin, maybe, and that would be potentially a sign of dollar cooling off a little bit, and again, giving some breathing room to crypto. So if you look at Ethereum BTC, why do you think ETH bounced harder today? Why do you think it's been outperforming Bitcoin? We've been in this range for, over a year. We traded to the high, to the low. We're now back at the high. Question is this a deviation and we break back in, or is this a proper breakout? And if we're going to break out of this range, right, then regardless of what happens in the markets, this just tells me that ETH is stronger than Bitcoin. So what does that mean? So let's assume the whole market goes down, but this chart goes up. That means Bitcoin's going down more than Ethereum. If this chart breaks up and the whole market is going up, that means if I'm longing, I want to be longing Ethereum because it's going up more than Bitcoin. Okay, so that's what you want to pay attention to. Very interesting time here coming up with the merge coming so soon for this chart to be looking like this, but we're right at a range high. So let's see. If you're a bull here, you don't want this to happen. We broke out, broke right back in, bearish retest, boom. So you want to see us hold above this range high, 82,400. You want to see us hold above there if you're a bull on Ethereum. So this is BTC dominance. Okay, what this effectively represents is the dominance of BTC versus the rest of the market. I mean, listen, this looks like shit, and this will continue to get weaker as the market gets more diluted and there's more coins in it, right? We're never going to really see BTC dominant levels back up to here, in my opinion, ever again. What you're saying is, hey, it seems like it's at support here. We have a quadruple bottom forming. Maybe I want to long BTC dominance, because you can do that, because all this ETH merger hype, the play you're describing is FBTC is going to go down. Why? Because BTC is going to start outperforming. And if BTC starts outperforming FBTC goes down, BTC dominance goes up. It doesn't necessarily mean that Ethereum and Bitcoin are both going up. They could both be going down. But if this chart's in a downtrend and they're both going down, Bitcoin's going down less, which could mean that BTC dominance still goes up. So Bitcoin could go down, Ethereum could go down, Ethereum BTC could go down, and BTC Dom could still go up. Just want to throw out re-alts that like all alts are outperforming BTC since June. Yeah, so generally after a period of volatility, right? So a big move to the downside or upside in Bitcoin, you're gonna see a rebound, right? Ethereum, EOS, ETC, a bunch of old ass alts, Solana, some of the newer alts, right? All outperformed Bitcoin on this bounce. And I've talked about this in the streams, right? Like Ethereum alone went 100% during this period of time where Bitcoin didn't do nearly that. Bitcoin is now trading right back at the range lows, where on the equivalent range here, Ethereum's only trading around here at the mid-range. What does that tell you? It means that Ethereum's stronger. How can you tell that? Visually, by looking at the two charts or using the FBTC chart. If this is bullish, if this has been going up, it remains the better long than Bitcoin. So I say all alts are shit. What I mean generally is like, I'm not personally dollar cost averaging into alts yet because I don't think that the bottom is in for crypto yet. Because even though FBTC may be going up right now, or some random alt versus BTC is going up right now, if Bitcoin makes another large leg down, guess what? All of these alt ratios get fucking cooked, and oftentimes those same alts that overperformed on the correction overperformed to the downside on the next leg down. Most altcoins are down way more than Bitcoin is from all-time high. Ethereum is down more than Bitcoin is from all-time high, right? So when I say most alts are shit, I mean, I'm just not personally looking to invest in altcoins yet. I think it's too early. Most of them. Doesn't mean there's not some outliers. But from a short-term trading perspective, you're absolutely right. And my point stands. If you want to long an altcoin because you think it's going to be more reflexive, if you think Bitcoin's going to bounce here, if you want to say, hey, I think altcoins are going to bounce harder, you're like, hey, most altcoins have outperformed Bitcoin since June. All you had to do was look at that alt versus BTC. Just like I said, if this is in an uptrend and you're bullish during this, if your alt BTC is in an uptrend during this, you're better off longing that alt. But what you want to check, because FBTC is in an uptrend, more important than just this, you want to check out your alt versus Ethereum. Because if your alt is outperforming BTC, but it's not outperforming Ethereum, you're better off just longing ETH. Hopefully that makes sense, me delineating between my kind of high time frame view of the market and alts, and then some kind of shorter term bullshit